people of Egypt have spoken. Their voices have been heard, and Egypt will never be the same.
What just happened to the computer there?
LoseYourExcuse.gov is playing in the background somewhere. I don't know what that is. The president has spoken. I know we were all waiting for it. But
is this time he's not going to be embarrassed by having the other guy do something that he wasn't expecting?
I actually meant Hosni Mubarak, not ours.
Okay.
Hosni, earlier today, Hosni Mubarak finally said, all right, fine, I'll give over the keys to the tanks to the secret police former head. Hope you all feel better now. But because he had yesterday, apparently that whole, we all gathered here and then you didn't tell us what we were going to tell us speech. Was he turned over control over the administration to the vice president, but not the military.
Yeah,
and now he's right with the citizens. But I still am baffled by why is this why do the president and the vice president and every member of Congress, why do we have to have I understand legitimately and intellectually the Suez Canal is a big deal. Why can't we just say the Suez Canal is a big deal? We hope the resolution that the Egyptian people come to make sure that stays free because the whole world is watching the Suez Canal. Why does it have to be, this is the resolution we want and we stand with why is it any of our... I have not liked our president's handling of this at all.
TV and radio.
Got to get me my free plugs for my re-election campaign in 2012?
No, it's the expectation now because of the 24-hour news cycle that anytime anything happens in the world, our, air quotes, leaders will come on to the medium of choice and say something about it so they look like they're in charge and in control of the situation.
I wish they'd get over that. Reagan would have handled it better. Bush the first would have handled it better. Hi, you're on the air with Joe and Chris in the Afternoon Constitutional. Who's this?
It's Harry Koenig again.
Hey, Harry, what's going on this afternoon?
It's morning somewhere. It's morning in Egypt. Here's the deal. We all, we're a loving and giving and concerned nation, right? And with this new situation in Egypt, we want to reach out to them and do what's best for them, and help them with our expertise. So I think we should send them our president.
You just said we need to help them with their situation.
Well, no, this is helping us. Yeah. It's a win-win is what we call this.
That's right. It'd be better than what they got. It's like that whole thing about the average intelligence in both sides wouldn't go up.
But, and it actually probably would really work for Barry as well, because he really sometimes looks very frustrated that he's the only world leader that doesn't have this sort of authority that all the other ones do.
Yeah. He'd enjoy it. And we'd enjoy it.
Yes, but would the Egyptian people enjoy it?
Well, my concern for them can only go so far.
Why would you wish bad things on people?
Oh, I feel so guilty. Of course, I'm Catholic, so I feel guilty all the time anyway. So
that explains it then. Okay. Right. I understand.
It's genetic.
I just wanted to share the benefits.
No, that's a great idea. We're going to forward it on to the proper authorities.
Okay, you all have a good one.
You too.
Thanks,
bye. It's just a swap.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Oh man! But the thing that I wish, maybe I just wish that delicacy of, hey, we hope it all works out. And look at how great the United States is. We have differences, and we have elections, and we've had 112 governments, and never with this sort of violence, and point out the good things about it. Why we don't have to have riots in the streets to enact this kind of change, or at least we haven't in the last 50 years.
Well, yes, but saying that doesn't let you look like you understand what's going on. You see. They want to look, Obama and the other leaders, for the lack of a better term, they want to look like they're knowledgeable, like they're in control, like they have some ability to influence the situation. And the thing you'll notice, the difference, if Reagan would have said this, or Nixon, or even to a certain extent Jimmy Carter, if any of them would have come out and commented on this, they would have waited until they actually knew what the situation was. Even Jimmy Carter was a little more reticent to go on TV until he knew what was happening. Mm-hmm. But that's because he was a micromanager, so he tried to never say anything about anything.
Right.
But they waited until they actually had something useful to say and weren't just guessing.
But why? But why does it seem like, I mean, because I agree with you, Chris, that this is driven by, you got 12 24-hour news channels, including, Al Gore's Keith Olbermann channel.
And nobody watches that.
I know, but maybe here in Charlottesville we got a few. But so you've got these 24-hour news networks all with cameras stuck in. But why do you feel the urge to have to answer everything? I mean, it's great when Joe Biden does it because you never know what great golden nugget is going to come dropping out of his Amtrak station under his nose.
Because none of them want to say, I don't know.
Well, what is the matter with saying, I don't have an opinion on that right now? Because then it looks like, and from their perspective, I don't have an opinion on it is pretty much the same thing as saying, I don't know. It is.
And none of them want to look like they don't know.
I've never heard anyone say, I don't have an opinion on that right now, and felt like it meant I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I would be the first to tell you maybe I'm weird. 434-964-1075 is the instant access hotline to the Afternoon Constitutional. Hi, who's this?
This is Greg, and I'm going to be serious today because, I feel like the Obama administration, I was kind of teasing when he did the Henry Kissinger accent yesterday.
That was you?
Yes.
Oh, wow, that was pretty good, because I had no idea it was you.
But anyway,
really good.
You're allowed.
It's very inappropriate for him to make any sweeping statements about the inner workings of another country. I think he should have had behind-the-scenes Secretary of State intelligence operations going on and a lot of debate behind the scenes.
We support the Egyptian, process, and if this is how it works, and right. I agree.
But what he's promoted is, and everybody hopes pure democracy is no good anyway because it can evolve into the Muslim Brotherhood or anything. But in my opinion, he was very much out of line in this open acknowledgement. But I think that's what Obama's about. I think that Obama wants this one world revolution of democracy for the masses that will evolve into something that would be very threatening to the United States. And I think, in my opinion, he has aligned himself with Mubarak Ahmadinejad because they're both, supporting this. Now,
right.
I support, and everybody supports, Egypt to be away from a tyrannical dictator such as the one they had.
But Greg, hang on a second. We're all getting caught up in this. In this room, have any of us ever even been to Egypt?
Yes, my wife just got back.
All right, so now that's actually good because you're the first person who's been able to answer yes to that question to me.
Well, and here's why I say what I say, and I will back it up. There's abject poverty there. When she was there, there was somebody in the bathroom offering tissue paper. Their hands are out everywhere because there's no way to make a living. There's the water that they wash out. They use a canal to wash their clothes, to drink out of, and the same canal they throw their dead donkeys and mules in and their trash. So it's a pretty hard situation. But the problem is this absolute frustration could evolve into what a lot of people are saying would be democracy, but in my opinion, a guarded, behind-the-scenes support of Egypt with a very, very limited statement by our presidency would have been prudent because we're opening ourselves up to a situation that nobody knows what's going to happen, and you could have a domino effect in the Middle East that would put Israel in a horrible situation, and us as well. And I think he's very out of line. I think the president was very, very much out of line in the way he supports this thing and the open statements he made without thinking it out. and having a clear policy.
Well, thanks, Greg. That was great, and I appreciate your wife's perspective on it, because that is something I think is lacking, is what's going on in there. And actually, what Greg says, brings me to another thought on this. Is we all want people to have representative, government representative. When you look at Iraq, you look in Egypt now, where abject poverty and lack of an educational infrastructure, it almost seems like you're trying to force somebody from the 15th century to fly an airplane. You're saying, well, we want you to have a representative republic. Do they have the civics education? You mentioned that. I question sometimes if we have the civics education for a representative republic anymore. But it's certainly a country where, huge tracts of their population, from my reports that I've read, have never known, an education, a classical education. They've been in abject poverty, just trying to survive. And then to say, well, you guys decide, the fate of your country. Now, they've never been asked of that. You've got to develop that.
People ask the question, well, naturally, we want everybody to have a representative republic. And my response to that is, I want each country to have the government that country wants and can handle.
Beautifully said. Can I give you a round of... I don't normally give you a round of applause, so that's better than I could have ever said that.
Because there are countries that are, from a social perspective, from a sociological perspective, cultural perspective, they're not ready for a representative republic. There are countries that actively would not want a representative. Like, for example, there are still monarchies around the world, and there are people that are perfectly happy having a king and being subjects. And if that's what they want, more power to them. If they choose to be that way, more power to them. I don't want that. I don't want my country to be that way. But if they want that, have at it.
People forget, the United States was a relatively prosperous country by 18th century standards when we had our revolution. 434-964-1075. Good afternoon. You're on with Joe and Chris on the Constitutional. Who's this?
Hey, guys, it's Hank.
Hi, Hank.
Hey, Hank.
And, Chris, I think you're right. I've often told people through the years, I said, you can't just go in there and hand somebody an empty Constitution with a fill in the blank, because if we had let's say there was a superpower above France or England in, say, 1676 that came to America and said, we're going to free you from the bondage of your king and et cetera. Would we have been ready for it? No. We weren't ready for it. It's a natural, organic thing, and you're hitting that right on the head. But what I wanted to ask was, and maybe y'all have addressed this, I've not heard it addressed anywhere really, but by the time 9/11 happened, the amount of time that's transpired, am I the only one that seems to remember the hue and call about where was our intelligence? How come we got caught with our pants down?
You were looking at my Facebook post earlier today, weren't you, Hank?
No, I haven't.
Well, because Chris...
But here's my question. We're asking that question about 9/11. I want to know where the intelligence was on Egypt, Jordan, Yemen, Tunisia. And where's the human cry about the lack of intelligence? Now, here's my thing. The intelligence exists. Our agents are top-notch. Our people are doing their jobs. What I question is, what happened to the information given to the Obama administration by the agents in the field and everything else we collected?
Well,
That's
I'll tell you what,
the investigation I want to have.
Well, Hank, I'm going to hang on to that because Chris has an answer to that, and we have to run to break, but hang on to the air, okay? Because he's got a whole thing on that, so hang on to that.
Real quick before we go to the break, I just got a piece of breaking news across my system here. Apparently, Chile has just experienced a massive 7-point+ earthquake.
What, is the epicenter near population area?
I don't have the information on that yet.
All right, we'll keep watching that for you.
That's a developing thing. Right?
7 inches?
Better than 7.
Oh, my God, that's a huge one. All right, well, especially another country, infrastructure challenged. On the Afternoon Constitutional, coming right back.